Hello everybody and welcome back to another online Chinese history class with me, Tony. In the last class we talked about the second of the 5 hegemons of the spring and autumn period, Song Xianggong, and how he was technically not a hegemon, but still considered by historians to be one, since his capture by the Duke of Chu and failing battle against him when he treated honor too high. He had an extremely short term as a hegemon, and definitely was the weakest of them all, and even one of the weaker royal princes as well. The third hegemon was Jin Wengong. Like Qi Hengong, there was some trouble within his kingdom, and some inheritance issues too. Jin Wengong was being hunted down, so he had to keep a low profile and had no royal authority whatsoever. He couldn't just order people around. He also had some followers who supported him in regaining the throne, and they became extremely close friends of him in this period of time. Once he had to beg for food from one of the citizens of the Jin kingdom. The person, instead of giving him food, gave him mud from the ground. Now, this is not the citizen disrespecting their king. It was because the person didn't even recognize him in this poor state. But, of course, Jin Wengong was still extremely mad. I mean, who wouldn't be? If you were asking for food and the person gave you a piece of mud. However, before he acted out of rage, one of his followers told him that this was actually a good sign. It was actually a good sign that the citizen gave him a piece of mud. Why do you think that his follower would say this? And what do you think happened after? A. His follower told him that the mud was a part of the ground. The ground was his land. The land that was rightfully his as the king of the kingdom. If the citizens were giving him land, that means they were special. That means they spiritually had loyalty and faith in Jin Wengong. They believed that he would one day reclaim this land and make it better for all of them. So after this, Jin Wengong became more motivated and all of his anger faded away. B. His followers said that it was a good sign because he wanted to make Jin Wengong happier and couldn't really think of a better idea than this within a few seconds. So Jin Wengong was extremely confused at his follower and kicked him away from the group because he couldn't give a capable reason as to why he said that. However, he wasn't angry anymore, so he left the citizen alone. C. His followers said that it was a good sign because he wanted to make Jin Wengong happier and didn't really think before doing this. Same as option B. However, Jin Wengong was only confused at first because after that he realized his mistake in his anger. That caused the follower to say this to try to calm him down. So he tried to remove the need to calm him down in the first place. So he appreciated this advice and appreciated his followers even more. Or D. His followers stated that the fact that they are willing to give anything at all was a good sign. It would have been worse if they didn't give anything at all, or just straight up rejected them. And it's like, nope, go away. But Jin Wengong disagreed, but his anger also was gone, so they left the citizen alone. Or E. His followers said that he was just joking around. Jin Wengong was severely disappointed of this and kicked him out of the group. However, his anger was still there, and he made sure to remember the citizen who gave him mud. And when he became the royal prince again, he would punish him for his deeds. I'll give you some time to think and answer this question. Alright, time is up. The correct answer choice is A. His follower told him that the mud was a part of the ground. The ground was technically owned by him because it was the land that was rightfully his, since he was supposed to be the royal prince of Jin. If the citizens were giving him land, that means they spiritually had loyalty and faith in him. They spiritually supported him and his journey to gain the status of the royal prince. Jin Wengong became more motivated, and all of his anger faded away. And he aimed beyond the scope of royal prince, and he aimed towards Hegemon, which he originally wanted to become as well. So another time after this, he visited the kingdom of Chu. Do you remember them? Yeah. The Duke of Chu welcomed him as an honored guest, even though Jin Wengong wasn't a royal prince. He didn't have any authority or any benefit to him, actually. So, and they had feasts. They treated him, and they helped Jin Wengong. And when he was about to leave, the Duke of Chu joked around and asked what Jin Wengong would do in return for the help received from him. Jin Wengong actually took this very seriously and told him that if he was able to become the royal prince again with the Chu Kingdom's help, then he would be on positive terms with them. And if they were in some sort of war, possibly, then against each other on enemy sides, he promised that he would back up around 9 kilometers before they fought. The people there didn't really think much of this since he wasn't a royal prince, so his word didn't actually count as much. But when he returned to his kingdom, and when he rose to power and finally reclaimed his throne, he became a royal prince and had ambitions to become the next Hegemon. The king of Zhou was invaded by some outsider tribes some time later. This opened up a lot of opportunity for Jin Wengong. The king's army, of course, got absolutely annihilated. The king was weaker than basically every single royal prince out there. There was probably around like 1 or 2 royal princes that were actually weaker than the king. And no royal prince actually cared. They didn't help him. They were just minding their own business. They didn't even need the king of Zhou. But then Jin Wengong actually wanted to help the king of Zhou. Now this isn't really just because that he was a good person. I mean, he is a good person, but he mainly did this because he wanted to gain the rank of Hegemon and spread his fame and power. He saw this as an opportunity. So he rescued the king and kicked out the tribes. And later, when the Duke of Chu decided to attack a kingdom that was allied with Jin Wengong, he intervened and instead conquered the 2 kingdoms that were allied with the Duke of Chu. The Duke of Chu was surprised of this basically sneak attack and said that he'd stop the siege on the castles of the kingdom that were allied with Jin Wengong as long as he releases the other 2 kingdoms and their royal princes that ruled over them. However, Jin Wengong did the exact opposite of this. He didn't release them and make an enemy. No, he actually managed to convince both of the royal princes to turn to his side instead, because he promised to give their land back and even give more land and give their ranks as royal princes back as well. So the 2 royal princes who were formerly allied with the Duke of Chu were extremely happy with this. However, the Duke of Chu was not. He was extremely mad and declared war on the kingdom of Jin. The Chu kingdom started attacking, but Jin Wengong remembered his promise. His first order was to back his troops up 9 kilometers, keeping the promise that he had made before. He was able to establish virtue as Song Xianggong was, but will he still have the military skill needed to defeat the Chu army? I'll leave you off with this cliffhanger, and that's going to be it for today. See you next time.